Hello, Grand Rapids. This is Mark Washington, your city manager. We are nearing the end of summer, and our kids are back into school, and hopefully you're enjoying this beautiful weather at this time of the year. And we're back in the swing of things at City Hall, and our commission has been real busy, as well as our employees, attending to the business of our city. Most recently, we've expanded the parking supply and availability for public parking downtown. The commission approved an agreement with Studio Park that will allow us to sublease 300 spots to the public. So that is great news for downtown parking expansion. We're also looking at our issues regarding mobility and transit, and looking at expanding our network beyond Grand Rapids into West Michigan. And we're working on an agreement with Grand Valley Metro Council and many other cities to look at the possibility of a West Michigan Express. How do we get commuters with the goal of reducing the amount of vehicles on the road from Grand Rapids to the Holland area, as well as vice versa, those who live in Holland and work in Grand Rapids, and those who live in Grand Rapids and work in Holland. How do we increase the effectiveness of our transit system and doing it in an efficient and environmentally friendly way? And so we're looking at that. We've also are focusing on public safety. There was an ordinance that was approved called CPTED, Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design, in which that allows us to look at the way in which we are designing our communities and businesses, and whether or not they have the appropriate lighting and other things that would deter criminal activity. And we want everyone to be safe. And I think in terms of just crime response, we want to make sure that we prevent crime whenever possible. The commission also adopted a human rights ordinance. I want to thank the Community Relations Commission for their work in recommending this ordinance. I want to thank our Diversity and Inclusion Office for its work in helping us to refine the ordinance, and all the public who came and provided feedback on the ordinance. It continues to ensure additional protections around fair housing, around employment, and there was another element that was added this year around biased crime reporting. I want to thank the police department for their feedback and making sure that it's one that protects the individual, but also makes sure that we still are encouraging citizens to call in if they see something unsafe in our community. We just don't want it to be the call to be based solely on a discriminatory element. Lots of efforts are going on to increase the housing supply and availability in our community as our community continues to grow. We have crossed the 200,000 mark from the preliminary results from the American Community Survey. And we are now in need of having a housing practice leader. The Commission authorized an agreement with Housing Next that will allow us to have a person to look at our housing issues within the city and have us more operationally have a consolidated housing approach. We also were able to sell 3 properties to Next Step of West Michigan. And that would allow them to collaborate with Mel Trotter to develop transitional housing for people who are unhoused or homeless. And this is more than overnight sheltering, and this allows for them to have more of a midterm type of housing for a year or so until they really can stabilize themselves and hopefully move into a more permanent housing situation. Well, with September right around the corner, Project 1 is about to begin on September the 7th, and it will run through the latter part of October. And it's ArtPrize with a twist. There will be events every weekend after the kickoff, and a lot of exciting artists renderings, and it will be very engaged and dynamic throughout our community, not just downtown, but we'll be visiting just about every ward of the community with various art renditions and exhibits, and the world will have their attention yet again on Grand Rapids, and we look forward to hosting the world and looking forward to our local Grand Rapidians taking part in those activities. And again, Labor Day weekend is right around the corner, and I want to, first of all, thank all the hardworking employees that give their time and talent so unselfishly to the city of Grand Rapids. I really appreciate their work, and was real proud to conclude all of our labor agreements recently, and I am very pleased that we were to have those successful labor negotiations. And again, I'm so appreciative to our employees. So have a happy and safe Labor Day. Those of you who are able to come out on Monday, on Labor Day, to downtown and participate in Labor Fest. Look forward to an exciting time there. Well, so far, so good. From my vantage point of our city, things are going well. I look forward to talking to you next month. Have a great month.